Now that the three of you have had 12 hours since that result and you've slept on it, how are you feeling this morning, Darian?
Frustrated. I think this was a game that they could have really controlled. They had their chances. Even watching the Agyemang chance, there were the opportunities to actually win this match, and it just felt a lack of mentality, a lack of fight. Maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's being on home soil. The lack of chemistry was very evident yesterday, and ultimately it's disappointing because you want this team to do so well, and I can't imagine how they're waking up feeling today.
Yeah, I'm a combination of, I sound like their dad right now, disappointed, but also really annoyed. Really annoyed. You know, the World Cup, it's coming really soon. But what annoys me is I felt like, and we all got together to watch the match, and I felt like a kid who, it's Christmas, and you're waiting for that big gift, and your parents are telling you, oh my gosh, you're gonna get some Jordans. You're gonna get the fly kicks. And you open up the box,
Crocs.
And it's the knockoff Jordans.
The Temu
kicks
joints.
got stains on them. It's the Temu Jordans. And you're like, no! I thought we were moving beyond this. It's more the same, but you talk about the mentality. There's a lot of questions that I have asked about this team at the final whistle, and we need to go after some players, and we need to ask some questions about the manager himself, because I thought it was a disaster in terms of the lack of goals. I thought it was a disaster in some of the comical defending, and the mentality wasn't good enough on the biggest stage.
There are two things that come to mind for me. How I'm feeling personally is nervous. I'm nervous about how the team is trending going into what is now going to be the Gold Cup looking forward, because the third place game will just be about probably experience and hopefully salvaging some good vibes. And then chemistry. You talked about the lack of chemistry for me was what was evident. It seemed like there were pockets of players individually, or, you know, maybe one, two, or three guys at times trying to solve problems on one accord, but the whole team did not look like a cohesive unit. And when you talk about battling and fighting for your nation, that is what the U.S. men's national team in ages past have done very well, has come together as a collective, and that's, to me, what I didn't see last night.
I went to bed mad last night. And then when I woke up this morning, I was just sad. I was just sad that we've been waiting all week for this game, right? But bigger than that, this is supposed to be the golden generation of U.S. soccer. This is one of the three countries that is going to be hosting a World Cup next summer. And maybe this isn't the golden generation that we thought it was. And I hope in saying that, and I hope in that being out there and the crowd last night, that lights a fire under this team. Because I think that they can change our minds. It is a third place game, but I'm really looking for a response, because you're going to be in tough moments in a World Cup, and they're going to be in a tough moment playing in that third place game. So I could change my mind after watching the third place game. And that's kind of the hope that I have here this morning. But you mentioned question marks. And you mentioned maybe a little bit of blame. When you look at the game plan by Mauricio Pochettino, what lessons, Michael, do you feel like the manager did learn last night?
Stop playing a lot of players out of position. That's the biggest lesson that I took. When I look at the lineup sheet, you had three players, playing out of position. Yunus Musa is not a right back. He's not a right back, right? And we had put Tim Ream at left back, which Tim Ream plays left back for his club, brother. He plays week in and week out for his club. And so to put Tim Ream at center back and then Joe Scally at left back, what frustrated me was how the U.S. was playing. Tim Ream was hitting those diagonals. The diagonals was on for the fullback or Timo Weah to make those late runs and make those runs in behind, because Panama, they didn't give any space for the midfield to operate. But this game was crying out for a left-footed player to get to the end line, and Tim Ream can pass the ball with his left foot, last time I checked, to get to the end line and make a quality service. I thought we let Panama off the hook time and time again, where it was two right-footed players on the left-hand side cutting the ball back in the Panamanian pressure, and they were able to snuff out crosses. So that was one of the many minor details, but it was a bit of first big match naivety from Poch.
Watching the match, this made me go look at my notes, because I had a couple of instances where I'm looking at specifically the left side, and there was moments where the U.S. was playing really aggressive in the attack with 5 players up top. They had the modified 3 back that they're playing right now, but there's no somebody checking down in a pocket to at least move Panama, to at least change up a little bit. So then maybe you can play through ball. Maybe then there can be a deep run made. Maybe then there's a chance to get into the 18 to actually have a real good opportunity. And it just felt like nobody wanted to take the responsibility. It felt like everybody was almost scared to make the mistake of doing the wrong thing. And you know when you get decision paralysis and you've played on teams where it's overwhelming the moment that you're in and everyone just kind of steps back, that is what it felt like. And I think I have 6 instances where nobody is commanding the ball at a moment where somebody needs to. And it's a cheap giveaway, a pass that goes out of bounds, or a pass literally played to nobody. There were so many moments like that where there has to be better chemistry and more responsibility and more autonomy between these players to just put it on their shoulders and take this game on, and we didn't see it.
That, to me, was a byproduct of the tactics, in my opinion. A wise cat once told me, you don't always play the best player, you play the right player. And for me, there was a situation, a perfect situation where Antonee Robinson goes out. That's an opportunity for a player. I said it earlier this week. You bring in Max Arpson for a reason. Play him. Play him in that left back spot. Let him get forward. Let him allow a situation where you can create 2v1s on that left-hand side, because Weah was charged with the ability to either go 1v1 or 1v2 all of the time. Weston McKennie would try to float out to try to create on that side, but then what would that do? On the flip, it brings Christian Pulisic too far inside, and he was inside too long where he wasn't isolated. He was only able to create one chance, and now I'm talking about Pulisic, to Agyemang where he cuts it back. You want Pulisic to be isolated way more, and that was a byproduct of not having any real ability to attack up the left-hand side when you switch Joe Scally, who's a right back naturally, who doesn't naturally really get forward anyway on his right-hand side. So that was where the biggest void was for me tactically on the offensive side, and Panama was able to keep the United States in front of them by and large.
Yeah.
Panama was also able to keep the United States off the board. Josh Sargent not able to get anything going in his start. Agyemang unable to find the net. So where does Poch in this third place game find the goals with the group that he has?
I would start Patrick Agyemang.
Yeah.
I got out of my seat when Patrick Agyemang, yesterday I was doing this, today I was doing this, and I got out of my seat when Agyemang came in. The misses that he had, we want him to put that away. And this is a guy that has the physical tools to compete much better than Josh Sargent does in CONCACAF.
It's the intelligence for me. It is the ability to toe the line and then bang, make the run at the right time. The best opportunity in the entire match is when Weston McKennie comes into the pocket, plays that deep line penetrating ball into Patrick Agyemang, and that's vintage Patrick Agyemang. When he's able to either get in on the right side of the defender or bully ball them into a way where he's 1v1 with the keeper. You have to give a lot of credit to Mosquera because he makes an excellent save, and normally Patrick Agyemang puts that away, but in my opinion, if you give him more than 45 minutes or so, he's going to do more with that because he's just the most confident striker that you have at this point in time. Brian White is also cooking with the Vancouver Whitecaps, so it's going to be interesting when you talk about the third place game because it typically brings opportunity for players that may not have started in the final.
I want to get to Panama in a moment, but before we do, Darian, how much did this game show the importance of Antonee Robinson?
It was massive. So we're talking about one of the best left backs in Europe right now. You can say in the world too, but the leadership, the quality that you know what you're going to get. He sets a standard for the U.S. men's national team, and they were missing that yesterday. Pulisic did not have his best game. I know we're going to get into specific players from the match, but you needed somebody to put the team on their back, and nobody took the accountability to. Everybody played scared. And when you're playing scared, especially against a team like Panama, they're going to sniff it out and come at you. You gave them the opportunity to take this game. And U.S. is missing a lot of leadership from these players that aren't in this camp right now.